You know, if you walk through Alicante's central market today, it's just buzzing with life. You've got the sounds of people haggling over fresh fruit, the smell of fish. It's really the beating heart of the city. But what most people don't know is that this beautiful place holds a really dark secret, a story from one of its absolute worst days. Right here, this very spot, a place that's so full of life and energy today, was once the scene of a truly unimaginable catastrophe. So we're going to go back to that day. We're going to uncover how a simple promise of food, of all things, became a devastating trap. Okay, let's go back in time. The year is 1938. Spain is being torn apart by its civil war, and the city of Alicante, it's under Republican control. Now, in any war, hunger is this constant, awful presence. Food is incredibly scarce, and just finding a decent meal is a daily struggle. But on this one particular morning, this incredible piece of news just spreads through the city like wildfire. It's such a simple phrase, but for the starving people of Alicante, it meant absolutely everything. The sardines had arrived. You know, after weeks, maybe even months of waiting, there was finally fresh fish. And this little whisper of hope, it acted like a magnet. I mean, hundreds of people, mothers with their kids, elderly folks, neighbors, they all flocked to the central market. For just a little while, they could forget about the war. This was a chance to buy real food, to chat, to maybe even laugh a little, to feel normal again. But while all this life was happening down on the ground in Alicante, an unseen threat was gathering hundreds of miles away. 9 Italian bombers had taken off from their base in Majorca. And this wasn't some routine mission. No, this one had a very specific and very deadly target in mind. And the way they did it was just devastatingly clever. See, instead of flying the direct route over the Mediterranean Sea, where, coastal defenses and spotters would be waiting for them, they flew inland. They took the long way around, approaching Alicante from the land, the one direction nobody was expecting an attack from. So back at the market, the crowd is just getting bigger and bigger. The excitement is real. You can feel it. People are lining up, they're talking. Their minds are totally focused on this simple, happy task of getting some sardines for their family. They look up, and what do they see? Nothing. Just a clear, beautiful blue Spanish sky. There's absolutely no hint of danger, no reason at all to think that anything is wrong. And this right here is the most chilling part of the whole story. Because of the bombers' tricky route, the city's warning systems were completely useless. The air raid sirens, the one thing that could have given people a fighting chance to run for cover, stayed completely, utterly silent. The clock hits 11:15. It's a moment just frozen in time. The market is packed. And then, with absolutely no warning, the sky just falls. The whole attack was terrifyingly fast. Over the next handful of minutes, 90 bombs rained down on that market and the streets around it. And just like that, a place of hope and community was turned into an absolute hellscape. The tragic irony of it all is it's captured in this one haunting detail from historical accounts. The very same carts that had just brought fresh sardines into the city a few hours before were now being used to carry away the dead. When the smoke finally started to clear, the true scale of the horror became obvious. The human cost was just staggering, something the city had never, ever seen before. Over 300 people lost their lives. These were mothers, kids, grandparents, just ordinary people who went to the market to buy some food. And for every single person killed, at least 3 more were wounded. We're talking over 1,000 people injured. Their lives changed forever by what happened in those few short minutes. And to put that into perspective for you, this wasn't just another tragic attack in a long war. No. Historians actually consider this the single deadliest bombing aimed at civilians in the entire Spanish Civil War, even more so than the infamous bombing of Guernica. In the aftermath, 2 terrifying questions hung in the air, questions that still haunt the memory of this day. Why was there no warning? And why would anyone do this? First, you've got the total failure of the warning system. I mean, how on earth did 9 bombers get close to a major port city completely undetected? And the answer comes back to that brilliant but totally cruel tactic. See, all of the city's defenses, all its spotters and listening posts, they were all pointed out to sea. By coming from the interior, from the land, the attackers found a fatal blind spot. The city was literally looking in the wrong direction. But the second question, that's somehow even more disturbing. This wasn't a military base. It wasn't a factory. It was a food market filled with ordinary people. So why? Why bomb it? Well, this wasn't an accident. This was a cold, calculated act of terror. The attackers knew the Sardines had pulled in a huge crowd. They targeted the market precisely because it was full of people. The goal was to cause as many civilian casualties as possible and just shatter the morale of the entire city. That little bit of hope brought by the fish, it was turned into a weapon. And it's such a powerful reminder that history isn't just something you read about in books. It's right there, literally beneath our feet, in the places we walk through every single day. Just think about that contrast for a second. On that day, the floor of the market was a nightmarish mess of blood and scattered sardines. Today, it's this vibrant, beautiful place full of life and laughter. The exact same space holds two completely opposite realities. And the story actually continues underground. The city has this whole network of anti-aircraft shelters, and you can actually visit a lot of them today. And when you walk through those quiet, concrete tunnels, you can almost feel the echoes of people running for safety, people who, on May 25th, 1938, never heard the alarm that should have sent them there. It really leaves you with a powerful thought, doesn't it? The next time you're in an old place, a busy market, or even just walking down a city street, maybe just take a second. What stories are hidden right there, just waiting to be remembered? What history is lying just beneath the surface?